Okay, so I guess we're live. So, welcome everyone. My name is Kayumon, and today we will be presenting Tomb Raider Underworld with the 100% category. I'm not alone here today, so perhaps would my couch like to give a short roll call?
Hi, I'm Clove. Sorry, Caddy, for cutting you off. We're really good at doing that.
Just go ahead.
That's it. I'm Clove. I run this game as well. I've also done 100%, so hopefully I can provide a little bit of insight into the category.
Yeah, I'm Kadaref. I also run this game, but not this category, so I probably cannot give as much insight about that, but I'm here as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. So, just a quick explanation. 100% means that we have to complete this game by collecting, or with collecting, all the artifacts in this game, where there are 179, and also 6 relics. So that's our goal for this run. And yeah, I see some good lucks in the chat. Thank you so much, guys, for that. And I guess we're ready to go, and we will be explaining everything else while we go along. We're gonna pick Casual Explorer because, first of all, it's, yeah, of course, the easiest difficulty. We will get less damage from enemies, and much more important, we get way more grenades in our inventory, which will be important for later. So that's the reason why we pick Casual Explorer. It's simply the fastest one. Okay, and we'll get thrown right into the action to the so-called prologue level. Right, so prologue
Don't
level.
forget timer.
Sorry, what?
Don't forget the timer.
The timer? Oh god.
Yeah, I think we
I forgot to start the timer.
Yeah, just start the timer now. It's okay.
Yeah, just start it down. It's all good.
I'm so sorry, I forgot about that.
No, I'm really happy because the same thing happened to me last time, so I'm not the only one.
So
Anyway.
yeah, well, I completely forgot about the timer fact. In the meantime, we were doing a bunch of crazy stuff here. Basically, this is supposed to be a tutorial level. We will come back later to this because we don't know the actions, what exactly happened here. And yeah, for the moment, we just straight run through this area and yeah, just complete the prologue. I guess we will have to cover the techniques I just did here a little bit later. Don't worry, we will see the same area twice. But yeah, just a quick tutorial. Now is where the fun begins. And the game is gonna put us 1 week earlier, where all of the events happened.
Isn't it? Yeah, there we go. So yeah, I think here at the start we are doing already some interesting acrobatics. So as you can see, this is not quite a very realistic way to descend, but it works. So yeah, if you keep your crouch after swan diving or rolling off some specific ledges, you just ignore the water physics in this case, which is way faster than swimming down there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And interestingly, if you pull out your weapons while doing just that, it even goes faster, because that makes sense.
Yeah, it just drags you all the way down really, really fast. And basically what Caddy just described, that is a very common technique that we're going to use a lot in this run. Because we can also use this to cancel our fall damage, and that's really, really useful. Especially in the 100% route, we've got it implemented a couple of times because we have to maneuver, or yeah, basically have to walk through different areas and really fast, and there the crouch drop bug is really helpful in that sense then. Right, before we go to the main area of this level, we actually have to collect a few artifacts which are lying down here. And I believe, Cloth, please correct me, there are 3 in this area down here, right?
There's a total of 4 before you get to the gate. There is the one in the cave you're going to now, and then there's one in the cave with the turnkey. But you will notice the treasures are very small, they're silver, they all look like this, except for the relics. There's 1 relic in every major level. You won't find any treasures in any levels without a relic. So this level has 26 of these little treasures and 1 relic.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, sorry, please, Cloth, go on.
You will notice the 1 week earlier text is stuck on the screen because they skipped the first cutscene with the boat. If you pause it and then skip it, it actually lets you skip it about 3 seconds sooner for that particular cutscene, and the text is just kind of stuck there. In case you may have forgotten that it was 1 week earlier.
It's really informative, though, yeah. But yeah, just going back quickly to the treasures and the relics. So treasures, they don't really do anything useful for you, except if you really like unlockables, like artwork and stuff, but that's not really useful for us right now. The 6 relics, however, they do have an immediate impact, which is each relic gives you 1/6 of an additional health bar. So at the end, you will have 2 full health bars.
That's true, yeah. So the relics are really, really useful. The artifacts, unfortunately, they don't really give you much. And also, in general, when you complete this game with 100%, there's not really a reward that you get or anything special that is unlocked, which is kind of a shame, but on console you at least got an achievement, so I guess that's something.
That is something I'm very sad about, is no achievements.
Yeah, on the Steam version there's no achievements.
You do get a white bathing suit that's only available if you replay this level after having already completed it. Which, for example, this gate puzzle, it's already open if you replay the level. All of the puzzles are already done, the Kraken's already dead, so it's like, what's the point, you know?
Yeah.
You just get a white bathing suit.
What Kraken are you referring to? I'm not sure.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, I suppose he does live. Right.
Nice jump scare. Okay, so we finally arrived in this cave and we got to walk again and don't have to swim all the time. So now it's becoming a little bit more fast again. And what I'm doing here is a route by Cloth. Well, in general, I took most of the notes from Cloth because she was the one routing this. Yeah, what we're gonna do first, though, is that we pick up this relic, and then we're gonna plunge in the water, dive down, and there's the next artifact. Also, I'm not sure, am I saying relic the whole time, even though I'm picking up artifacts?
Just this one time you said relic, so yeah, it's a treasure, not a relic.
Yeah, a treasure. I'm sorry if that happens.
But so far you were doing fine, don't worry about it.
Okay. As long as you know what I mean, then you should be good to go. Right.
So here you see for the first time these really cool boxes. They will we will see them a few times again. And so right now we basically only really throw them or do a very small walking segment with them, but later on we will carry them for a bit longer, and then you will really start to enjoy how, let's say, heavy they are. So you will get used to seeing Lara carry those around.
That right there was a pretty common technique called the delayed swan dive. Would one of you guys like to explain that?
Kara, would you like to?
In the meantime, I'm just doing this
yeah,
here.
so the swan dive, which is the Lara's trademark move in most of the games, is really, really broken in this game. Arguably the most broken thing. The game is not super glitch, like you don't have many glitchy techniques, but the swan dive just completely breaks most of the game. So if you swan dive of a ledge, some specific ledges actually, you somehow get a mid-air jump, which you can use to obviously reach some usually not that easily reachable ledges. You can also delay the time at which you start your swan dive. So swan diving is done by jumping and then rolling. If you delay the roll input just the correct amount of time, you actually start the swan dive animation a bit later, which also extends your vertical and horizontal height, so you can combine both effects to get some really good results from that.
Yeah, you can use it for like skipping obstacles or like do really crazy skips. So definitely really useful. Also what you're seeing here, what I just did there, is that I went out of bounds and we're now at the way back. So normally you're first of all supposed to kill that one Kraken, which we may or may not have seen there for a brief camera moment. And yeah, we're actually skipping the entirety of that and just go to the way back already. And want to get an... what is it exactly? Is it a it's not a glove, but an attachment for her hand so that she can move something. Or what was it again, guys?
It is a gauntlet,
Yeah.
but it does
gauntlet.
like it does shatter, and you just have the like the clip part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this game is entirely based on Norse mythology. Well, Norse mythology in quotation marks, because I'm not quite sure if it's super realistic, but yeah, so we're basically collecting Thor's artifacts, 2 gauntlets, a belt, and of course his hammer, over the course of this game.
Yeah, that's true. And we're just starting off with this and get the first gauntlet in this area here. Basically, the main goal that Laura wants in this game is to find out the truth of her mother, I guess. And during her travel, she discovers different kinds of secrets from, first of all, from her father and her own findings, and also finds all these attachments from Thor, which also give her, yeah, some nice own abilities later on. Right, this artifact I really may not forget. And now we're already good to go to the... go back. Now, we could already leave this whole area here. We could go back to our boat and trigger the next sequence. But since this is 100%, we have to do a little bit of a detour and visit some more places. In general, in 100% you really get to see some interesting places that you wouldn't see in any of the other categories. So that's definitely really nice about this category.
Yes, we do have a category no prologue skip, as well as all relics, where we do have to visit every category. But at least with this one, you do pretty much see almost every nook and cranny of the levels, for the most part.
Yeah.
Here we get to visit the Kraken and his living room. We did not kill him in this run.
Yeah, he's still living. Funnily enough, Cloth has mentioned this replay feature that you can revisit the levels after having completed the game. If you haven't killed him, he will still be here, funnily enough, in that replay scene. And the game is kind of stuck because you can't actually kill him anymore, which is kind of interesting. Oh wait, no. Sorry, Cloth?
I was just gonna say, you had your chance.
Yeah, you had your chance. I think I said something wrong. You can, I think, still kill him. But definitely the whole area is gonna be glitched out due to the fact that you've skipped it in the first place. Right.
There are just quite a few treasures just scattered through this area.
Oh yeah.
I forget the count we should be at now, because I think you do it slightly out of order from what I do, but there should only be a few more before we eventually head back out.
Oh really? You have a different order than I have? I thought I copied your route, but maybe I...
That one pot in the broken hallway, you got it early. I usually get that on the way out. I think that's
okay.
pretty much the only difference.
I see.
Maybe Clove changed her route after you copied her.
Yeah, funnily enough, when I learned this this category, I think Clove's only run available, or that was on her YouTube channel, was the one, I don't know, your 150 time Clove. Please correct me if I'm wrong there. But basically her very first run, and then just a few days after I fully learned the route, Cloth had a new run up on the board already with a bunch of new strats already, and so I didn't even got to check all of them because I learned with the old route. So it could be that I'm missing a few things, but hopefully we should be fine.
As long as you're not missing any treasures or relics, that's all good.
Yeah. Right, let's do
Well, hey everyone, we got just a second for a donation or two?
Absolutely, yeah. Go for it.
All right. Well, we've got 35 euros from Tokaloni1. Says, greetings to my good friend Katara.
Hi.
And
Thank you very
thank you,
much.
Toka. And then we've got 100 euros coming in from Tech,
Oh.
saying just simply, good luck.
Tech the legend.
Is it the tech, Reese?
I
Is it
mean,
you?
that's the only one I know.
Thank you so much, Reese. Right, so I actually did a huge fail. I wanted to open up a script on my second screen so that I'm aware of the current count of the artifacts. It turns out I have the wrong layout opened and it's not displaying that, so I might have to check the PDA every now and then if we have everything. But yeah, I think for the most part we should be fine. Also, yeah, first of all, stay hydrated, and then, yeah, or I can actually do that just in a second, because this cutscene right here is actually unskippable. It's for some reason, the only cutscene in the game that you can't skip, and a really good time for staying hydrated.
Yeah, for some reason, or I mean, the reason is obvious, but they were really proud of this cutscene, and we have to watch it every time, which makes resetting runs where you go into all levels, aka all but any %, really fun.
I just realized I have the complete wrong splits opened. Even I have the any % splits opened.
You might go a bit overestimate that.
Whoops. It's fine. Right.
So this is not a new level yet, this is just basically the second part of this first
Yeah.
level.
Thankfully, no treasures in this boat.
And that
because
is
I get
true.
sun.
What's funnily enough, we actually get to visit this area right here twice in the run. We'll get to that when we come there. But what's really cool is that these areas don't have any sort of collectibles that we have to care with, so we can just speedily run through them, and it's really cool.
It's a bit of a conflicting message. You're running 100% to collect everything, and then you're happy that there are no collectibles. Which one is it? What?
Well, you got me there, Kata.
Yeah, so there you saw another crouch bug, for example, just to avoid falling damage. If you jump off the deck to the lower one, you would usually die from the fall damage, or at least take a lot of damage.
And like Cloth has mentioned earlier, during some cutscenes I will be pressing the pause button before, and then we can skip the cutscene earlier. Just like Cloth has mentioned, this works in a couple of cutscenes. And that was just another example of that. This boat right here, well, first of all, the whole boat is sinking right now, so everything is like really going crazy. And there's actually a way to clip out of bounds here. It seems to happen especially to glitchless runners.
Yes.
I don't think we have found a consistent way to do that yet. Or do we, guys?
As far as I know, that getting out of bounds there actually is detrimental to the run, correct? Right?
Yes.
Ah, yeah.
I don't see
That
any way
way-
of getting back in bounds.
Exactly. So getting out of bounds is the nice part, but not getting back in bounds is the bad part.
Right. Just
Yeah, just the end of the first level. So that was Mediterranean Sea, and now we go to the next part in the very well-known Norse mythology locations, which is Thailand.
yeah. I'm just spectating my weird splits. It's a little bit irritating, and I'm worried that it might drag me out of the game, showing you have updated your splits. Do you want to save them? It's only the reason why I'm looking. Now we're in Freiland, and first of all, Freiland is a really nice looking level in this game. One of my absolute favorites. And funnily enough, Cloth has recently found something really, really strong in this level. So perhaps would you like to tell us about that?
Yes, you're right. This is a very beautiful level, but it seems the more and more that this speedrun progresses, we are seeing less and less of Thailand. At the very beginning of this game, so not this game, but this level, a very common theme with these levels is that you will generally start and end the level in the same area. So she started on her boat, and eventually at the end, she comes through a tunnel to leave the area through her boat. If you actually crouch bug and walk onto the edge of the water area, you can fall straight down under the ground and swim into that exit tunnel, hit a very specific trigger. It's very easy to do, and just straight up leave the level. There is a category, all relics. The relic is a little bit before the final end tunnel, so you can enter through the tunnel, go into the final room, get the relic, and then leave. So really the only categories that you see this full level would be 100% and glitchless now. So poor Thailand, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
There is 30 treasures in this level. I believe that there's 3 different levels with 30 treasures. So 30 treasures and 1 relic in Thailand.
Right, I'm a little bit concentrating here that I'm not falling down, because this area is a little bit scary. You can fall down here to the very bottom, plunge in the water, and that obviously wastes a lot of time, so I'm a little bit careful here that this doesn't happen. Right, but for now we should have all the artifacts from this area, so we can now progress a little bit more in the jungle. In the distance you might be hearing some tigers. These will be our enemies later. This is also the reason why we picked the shotgun that you see on the top left corner. So for the most levels our choice of weapon is actually the shotgun, because it's really useful for the standard enemies. Just in levels where yeah, there are a lot of small enemies, it's like more useful to use the submachine guns. But yeah, for the most part you will see us use the shotgun. Can I do this skip, please? Come on. We'll get there eventually. There we go. Normally it's not that slow to jump up there the intended way, but I really want to do the shortcut because it looks cooler and it's a really nice technique.
Yeah, it was a pretty good example of how much freedom of movement you actually have in this game. So that's not the intended way to get to that ledge, but it's also not like glitched at all. Like
Yeah.
you actually have a lot of movement options in this game, like wall jumping, and as I said, the swan that is very useful. So you get a lot of freedom of movement.
That's true. And also, I was hoping that one of you guys could please explain this part. Okay, so we're gonna do
This strat is called the tiger skip, so if you were to fall to the ground, you would trigger some tigers to come, and we will be doing that, but this is a method to get one of the more hidden treasures in this area. So if you do notice across the gap, there is a area for you to get to take you to the very next area, and that is how tiger skip would benefit you, is by ignoring the courtyard and just moving on. But there is a small alcove where we can get a treasure with the use of tiger skip, where we will then drop down to fight the tigers and get the other 3 treasures in this area. We are basically trying to jump right over that just that piece of rock that seems to be so stubbornly in our way.
Yeah, this jump is really precise. There's a setup there I'm trying to do here, where I'm really trying to line up so that Lara jumps to that outstanding alcove. There we go. There we have it.
Yeah, as is typical for these games, there is somewhat of a auto lock-on system that allows Lara to grab ledges, and in this case we kind of abuse that, because as you saw, you can kind of grab that ledge even though you shouldn't technically from that angle.
Yeah, I think it's also allowed for glitchless. So really this is just a game mechanic that we're abusing here, kind of. but not really a glitch or a technique or whatsoever. So really,
And sorry.
no, please go on.
Getting that treasure first is definitely more optimal pathing, so you can get that treasure, drop down, proceed, rather than dropping down, going all the way around, getting the treasure, dropping down again, and then doing all the climbing again. So definitely a very optimal path to get it first, and then proceed through the rest of it as normal.
Yeah, exactly.
And right there, that was a very creative use of the wall jump. Obviously, they might not have intended for you to wall jump against, you know, the grassy, mossy wall. But we did, because wall jumps are fantastic. Although it's a bit random what walls you can and cannot wall jump off of, but just enough to be abusable.
That's true. And I think Ucloth came up with these shortcuts, right?
Like, that is one of my favorite things about speedrunning, is getting to route a category that not many people have tried. There's just a lot of freedom of just exploration and finding all these cool little paths.
Yeah.
But there is always the benefit of having other people look at a run, because a lot of people will find stuff that you may have never considered. So it's always good to have multiple people on something.
That is true, really. But in general, Cloth has really found a lot of optimizations that we're also going to see in this run, so it's really, really cool. Right, so we're just gonna pick up this artifact, and we're soon approaching the so-called main area of this whole level, which is Bogavati. Sadly, we won't really get to see it that much because we just skipped the cutscene for it. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna crouch drop back down here. Whoops, no, that's not what I wanted to do. It's fine, we got this. Okay, so I think the artifact should stay collected, yes. That's actually the cool thing about this game, so that whenever you have picked up either a relic or an artifact, it's gonna stay saved, so you don't need to worry about collecting them again. So that's really, really nice.
Interestingly, that's not the case for the Japanese version. For what reason? Like, I have no clue. Like any other version, you keep your artifacts or relics regardless when you die. But in the Japanese version, they only stay after you get to the next checkpoint, so you can't really abuse a lot of death abuse. So which is why you don't want to use the Japanese version for any of the categories where you need to collect stuff. But other than that, the version or the language you're using is of no importance.
Is there any other advantage that the Japanese version has, Caddy?
Yes, it's Japanese. No, there's no.
Your favorite anime?
Yes, I'm not a weak, by the way. Yeah, there is no known advantage at least.
Okay. I thought there was something like, you know, for most of the, or at least for a bunch of speed games, you want to pick the Japanese language because the language is faster when it comes to scrolling text and whatnot. Of course, in
But
this
in this game, we don't really have that. So
Yeah.
the only thing that would really influence maybe would be cutscenes. But then again, first of all, they're pre-rendered, and second of all, we skip those anyway, so
yeah.
it doesn't really influence anything. Interestingly, for the for the classic Tomb Raider games, for most of them, the Japanese version was actually a lot easier because you would do double damage. But for any of the newer ones, which I count this one towards, that's not the case.
So we're doing a sequence of little hard jumps here. Meanwhile, the lizards are kind of behind us. So, Oof. That was not
This
good.
room is particularly nasty for glitchless and 100% because of those dang lizards.
Yeah.
You want to do this room basically as fast as possible because the lizards are always on your tail, always coming after you, and they are very aggressive. I would say they are one of the hardest to deal with enemies in the game. They do take like 2 shotgun hits, but they throw up on you, so they do knockback damage from afar, and they are quite fast. They are not the nice kinds of lizards.
Oh, totally they aren't.
And speaking of the combat in this game, so it's a bit, you need to get used to it. And by getting used to it, I mean you have to accept that sometimes you will just not get the results that you expect. Because the auto lock-on of your weapons, like it's literally immediately. So if you just slightly, or if you even start to take out your weapons, she immediately starts to lock on anything that is probably not what you want to. Which is especially annoying if you have a lot of enemies on the screen and you want to target a specific one. It's usually will not be the one that you want to get.
Now, this is a strat that I just learned of today. I'm not sure if I'll be able to pull it off, but I just randomly discovered in Clove's current run that there's a shortcut that you can do here, just by abusing the swan-like technique. Clove, maybe you can explain that a little bit better than I could.
So I played this game back when it originally came out in 2008. And I had no idea that after you would climb up to get that treasure, there was actually a ledge for you to drop down. I was just kind of jumping around because I was really frustrated trying to find a shorter path, and I was like, oh my goodness, there's actually a drop-down ledge. But like Katarev mentioned earlier, whenever you jump, there is a short window, so if you press the roll button a little bit later, you can get a farther swan dive. So basically doing a far swan dive with a wall jump will give you just enough height to reach that ledge and get that treasure.
Yeah, and definitely a really nice shortcut that you can use. Right.
Will you be going for the difficult red pillar jump?
The red pillar jump?
Where you did the 2 late swan dives at the top of this room?
Oh, this one. Yeah, I will. I'll try it at least. Yeah, we need to see it. First
I like the confidence.
Right, this is also a setup that Clove has found. So we want to reach this platform, which is back over there. Hopefully it's gonna work. Yes, okay. It looked pretty tight, but we thankfully made it. Ooh! Okay, the ostrich. Right, that just scared me a little bit, so I apologize for my reaction. But yeah, sometimes if you just barely hit a certain latch or a platform, then this is gonna happen and Lara's head is just gonna get stuck in the floor. I think the runner dragon calls it an ostrich, so that's where I got it from. Right. And too bad. Wait, let me set this up properly. Nope.
This jump makes use of the later swan dives we were just mentioning. You need to basically try to get 2 late dives as fast as you can. Just like that. It saves several seconds worth of climbing around that area.
Absolutely. It is just a little bit tight to do, so really, that's the only disadvantage of it, but it looks cool. And thankfully it did work, so we were able to show it. Right, so what we're gonna do now here. So first of all, we're gonna get down here. Whoops. Oh, come on.
You would think with how big this area is that there would be more than like 4 treasures? 3 treasures?
Yeah. But there's actually not that much. Like in some of the later levels, the developers have scattered the artifacts literally everywhere. In this level, however, oh sorry, Claw, what did you want to say?
Oh no, I was just saying.
But in this level, however, there aren't that many, which is kind of surprising, really. Oh, I'm surprised that this worked out. Also, right, I was hoping that you guys could also explain this, because it's a little bit difficult for me to do. Okay. Right, let's do the new setup here. A little bit more forward.
This is the statue skip, which I quite like this skip. However, it seems to have only be useful in 100% glitch now, since Thailand skip has been discovered. So going out of bounds with by climbing on top of the arm, we want to reach a lower tunnel, which we will try to do with a crouch bug. You can do it with either a backwards roll or a swan dive into the crouch holding position. It's very precise, very easy to mess up. And what you notice right there is that he fell out of bounds. If you do fall out of bounds in this game and do not load a save in time, your game will crash within just a few seconds on
That's
PC.
true.
So that's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, on console actually the same thing happens. Your console just freezes and you have to actually pull the plug because your console
Really?
yeah, your console is completely bricked at that point. And you have to pull the plug because there's no other way to exit the game really. So yeah, therefore what I just did was quickly save the game, reloaded it, and that gives us the opportunity to try it again. And hopefully it's gonna work now. Right, so doing the setup. Why am I doing this wrong? Okay, I can just load the same save file again. I was worried about Freiland for a reason.
It is a very hard skip, yeah.
Yeah. We'll get to it. In worst case, I have to do the old strat, which I have not practiced because technically this new one is way easier. But yeah, apparently I'm failing it a little bit right now, so it's fine.
I do believe you have the jewels, so worst case scenario, we can do this glitchless.
Oh, you're right. Yes, we could. But yeah, we'll try it with a glitched way because it's actually pretty cool to just skip this whole area. Alright, so hopefully this is gonna work now. Should work. Yes, okay. That lets a stone fall from my heart because
Even better if you have delay, so we have to
oh,
rely on your reactions to know if it works or not.
you didn't even know that I got it. Right, but we're safe. Okay, the run can continue now.
Yeah, so this next area is where the relic is located. So this is basically the second to last room of the level. And this is in all relics, which obviously only requires you to collect the 6 big relics. This is where you would come if you would do the talent skip at the start. So we would have skipped everything we did up so far and just go into this room, collect the relic, and get out again. And the central gimmick of this room is that you have this big central structure, and since Lara has a Thor's gauntlet, she can move it rather easily, which will need to get to the end. But you also saw how Kayumon just got to the relic. You are supposed to use the structure to get there, but we can again use a delayed swan dive to get on top of the statue's arm, which is actually not as easy as it might look. It's very slippery, and there is also somewhat of a death barrier there that you don't want to hit, so it's a rather precise jump.
It's true, but thankfully it did work out. It really is pretty precise, and maybe it didn't look that hard when I pulled it off, but yeah, it really can fail sometimes. So I'm glad that it worked out. And yeah, just like Caddy said, we're now using our gauntlet to move this huge block, and I really need to think that we still have one important artifact to collect in the room. So why am I doing this risky stuff again? Right, there's a certain visual cue on the floor that I want to look out for. I can also just turn the camera a little bit. And I think this should be safe. Gonna find out in a sec. Right, so let me just do this. Whew, I was scared from that. Oh no! Why did it not work? What am I gonna do now? It's fine. I'm just gonna plunge to my death and we already got the artifact, so therefore we
Yeah,
should be able
the
to.
important part.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, in case you're wondering why Lara is not using the gauntlet to just move about everything like skyscrapers and whatnot, so these ancient artifacts conveniently only work in very specific locations, and you can only move objects that have these Norse runes on it. So you're not quite a god yet.
Not quite, yeah. Right, so we've got one more artifact to go, and this right here is pretty much the area that Cloth has mentioned at the very beginning when we started this level. So from the very beginning you can use an out of bounds to gain here really, or get here really early, and yeah, basically finish off the level that way.
It's just a little bit past this treasure. I think right after you swam over that tiny rock, you know, of all those beautiful tiny rocks, the trigger is just a little bit after the gate, where you can just immediately leave after that. It, like in terms of prologue skip, I think the level was about 5.5 minutes, and now it's about 1.5 minutes. So that's a very big time save.
Absolutely, yeah. It has also pushed down the all levels category by quite a bit, right, Cloth? Like it is now at a sub 40?
Yeah, my PB now is 38 minutes. I never thought I'd see it sub 40, but now I don't even know what time it would go.
And you might be surprised why we have a category that basically requires you to visit all levels. So we haven't even talked about that.
Oh yeah.
You actually will see that rather soon. So you may have noticed we're back in Croft Manor. So this will lead us back to what we saw at the very start, where we got this short introductory prologue level. So since we visit that level twice, as you saw, usually you will go to the floor in the main hall, and that will bring you to the first level, Mediterranean Sea, as it did in this case. Since we revisit this level, though, there is also a second level exit trigger that brings you to the fourth level, so the one we will hit in this run once we're done with this level, which brings you to Mexico. And in both instances where we go to this level, the same map is used, so it also uses the same level exit triggers. And thanks to the delayed swan dive, we can actually reach the second level exit trigger that brings us to Mexico without hitting the one that brings us to Mediterranean Sea. So in any percent, we use that to literally skip the first 3 out of 6 levels, so half of the game.
It is truly crazy. I remember watching Katarev's run for the first time, and I was just thinking, wait, wasn't there a water level? Why are we in Mexico already? And it took me like several minutes to figure it out, and I was just blown away by that. It's about a 21-minute run, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Really crazy.
Absolutely, yeah.
And at this point, I really hope you like Lara carrying boxes.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
And she has a friend. 2 friends.
I just had to get rid of the friends really quick. I'm so sorry.
I did notice you picked the assault rifle.
Yeah.
Do you prefer that?
Yeah, for this level I prefer that because it just is like super fast to kill all the enemies. I'm still not sure if the submachine guns are still faster.
I do think they are more beneficial because you can shoot 2 targets at once. I want to say that they are the same speed as the assault rifle, but the multi-target aiming is, I think that's supposed to be better, but I haven't tested it.
Yeah. I know that an original runner, Dopey, he used to always use the assault rifle in this level. And I tried it out for myself and I thought, hey, this is actually pretty fast. And I just tried it out for myself and now I just pick it for personal preference. Although,
to be fair, he also always ran on the hardest difficulties. I'm not sure if the extra damage may have helped with that, so I'm not sure.
That's a really good point, yeah.
Yeah, but in this case you saw there were a lot of critters, so bats and spiders running around that are all one-shot, and that's what I meant earlier with the... you could see how the camera rapidly swings around with the auto-aim system in this game. Yeah, system in this case, very beneficial. In most other cases, not so much.
This is out of Croft Manor. This level's pretty short. It is the least demanding in terms of collectibles. You only need 13 treasures and, of course, 1 relic, as every other big level. I do think this little treasure right here is one of the more creative ones. There is a pole that we used to get to the other one on the other side of the room. So the intended method would be to bring that pole over here, but by doing an angled wall jump, you can actually reach it without the pole. So it doesn't seem that exciting, but I thought that was pretty cool.
It definitely is. Actually, I I didn't even know that the pole was on the other side. I had no idea how to, you know, how you were supposed to do this. Since I just copied the route from you, Cloth. So that's pretty interesting to hear, really. Right. And then we're just gonna pick up some treasures here. And now comes a really interesting room. And Cloth found a pretty awesome strat here, so I was hoping if you would like to explain that too.
Of course. There are 2 skeleton dogs, I believe, called thralls in this room, and the intended way would be to kill them, and with having gotten the second gauntlet from her father's desk, you would be able to move that giant pillar with the glowing blue runes. There's 3 treasures we need to get, though. So instead of killing the dogs, we are going to get this first treasure, and then we are going to go to this one corner of the room with some boxes. We are going to wall jump, and then we are going to barely hit the checkpoint of the upper level from the bottom of the balcony without needing to kill them. So it's about a 30-second time save if we were doing an any percent run, no prologue skip. And from up here, we can get the last 2 treasures of this level.
It's really, really useful for sure. And yeah, it just skipped, first of all, having, just like Cloth said, killing these 2 dogs and pulling the what is it? Not the
pillar.
Yeah, the pillar, right. So yeah, and what's also really cool is that this checkpoint is actually gonna stay there. So when we die another time, it just warps up there again. So definitely really, really useful. And I think this should also have been it for... Yep, we've got all the artifacts here. So now it's Caddy's turn to explain this area again, I guess.
Yeah, so this is where you might become familiar with the game again. So this is exactly what we saw at the very start. Again, just so you can follow along, once Kayumon gets to the main hall, which you will see shortly, whenever you touch the floor, so the entire floor of the main hall is a giant level exit trigger, or in this case it's just a cutscene trigger. But we will try to avoid that by performing a delayed swan dive of a ledge, and if you get that mid-air jump that I talked about earlier from it, you can grab a ledge just around the corner, avoiding the floor entirely. And that allows you to get to the Mexico level exit trigger without going through the cutscene in this case, or without going through 3 levels in any percent case.
Mm-hmm. Right, so we're gonna see that trick in question right now. I'm gonna do kind of an older setup for this one. Then I'm gonna do the delayed swan dive and gonna reach the other side. And now, just like Hedy mentioned, we have skipped the trigger. Now it's not really a prologue skip anymore because we've already done the Mediterranean Sea level, so we wouldn't even come to the Mediterranean Sea level now, but yeah, we can still use it to skip a cutscene, so that's definitely nice.
Yeah, so in this case, if you would fail it, it would not be too tragic because you just would be back at the floor and you could just climb up that ledge. Of course, in any percent, you would immediately reset because you don't want to go through the first 3 levels.
That's true, yeah.
And now we start southern Mexico on the bike.
Yeah, first time we get to see it actually. Right.
This is by far the biggest level of the game. It has 50 treasures. That's more than any other level, and it's about a little less than a third of all the treasures we need overall, so that's very exciting. And also, I'm quite sure if you accidentally miss this first treasure, I don't think you can come back.
You can't.
I was there for that.
I've had to reset a run here because I missed it.
Oh, really?
Yes. You can't even like jump over it. It's so sad.
Oh no. Yeah, I during practice the same thing happened to me. I was going too fast, went over this pit already, and I was like, dude, how can I get back there? And I wasn't able to find a way. So now that you
No.
confirmed it. Well, but we got it, so we should be safe, hopefully. I'm not sure if there are any other sort of artifacts that you can't get anymore if you went past them.
Well, you could miss the relic in England, which we luckily got, but you can also lock yourself out of that one.
Oh yeah, that's true, yeah.
Because you need the treasure box, not treasure box, the boxes to weigh down of one of the treasure plates, and it also opens up that relic alcove.
Oh,
but
yeah,
you also
yeah.
need to put them to the other side, so once they're on the other side of the gate, you have locked yourself out.
Yeah, that is true. So then probably the only way to get them again would be by using the replay level feature at the end of the game, or when you have completed it once. I'm trying to not fight the jaguars here, but they can be a little bit irritating here, so let's see how it goes. Ooh. Got it. Okay. In general, your health management in this level is kind of important. It's even more important. Well, no, not really. I wanted to say I wanted to go over the skip that we do in any percent, and how it's kind of tight with the with the grenade. But I guess we'll come to that a little bit later. What I wanted to say is that there are also a bunch of enemies around here. And really, we don't want to waste too much time picking up medkits. So this one, for example, is an instance, just to be safe, I'm gonna pick up. But nevertheless, there will be enemies, and they can really reduce your health, so you do need to be careful.
Do we know exactly the names of those enemies? Like, I've always called them poachers, but I don't know if they actually have a proper name for who they are and what they're doing here.
I'm not too familiar with the lore of this game.
I can't really tell either.
What was that?
I said I don't really know either.
What I do know is they have ridiculous aim, so for all I know, they probably are out here hunting animals.
They really do, yeah. Sometimes what they can do is to get you stuck in a series of headshots, and then Lara stumbles and backs off for a step, and that's really not good, because then you can't move and you're pretty much revealed to them. So let's see how that goes. We're coming to the area in question. Right, so we're gonna park the bike here, and we're just gonna enter this cave here. Okay, here comes up the hard area, and I would like to avoid trying to fight them. So what I'm going to do is to pick up some safety medkits here just to be safe. But as you can see, we have jaguar. No, not are these jaguars or panthers?
Honestly, I feel like people always correct me and I just forget. I want to say they're jaguars.
Then let's call them jaguars, because I'm not sure either.
I mean, I know the soundtrack for this level, or the song that's usually playing, is called Panthers vs. Poachers, so I assume
Oh,
they refer to those.
Really?
Yeah, they are.
Okay,
But
so
I'm not
yes.
sure.
You know,
No.
we're gonna go with it, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Caddy just opened up a completely new insight. I always called them jaguars. Right, but I think what Clough has mentioned during one of her runs is that as soon as you climb up here, all of the enemies get deactivated.
That is very interesting. They, I guess the devs had maybe thought, oh well, they'll just kill them. You know, Lara's a strong woman, but no, they just kind of stand there. And then I think once we leave this area, I think it like kind of refreshes and spawns new poachers. I don't think there will be any panthers, even if there were some left, I think they actually despawn. And then there's just a group of like 4 to 5 poachers who will just constantly shoot at you, and it's quite obnoxious.
Yeah. You mean when we're coming out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once we leave.
I'm looking out for that. Right, but for now we're on this cave right here, and we should be safe. Right, let's pick up this thing. And then what we're gonna do is pull this block down. A bunch of bats will now fly out of this cave. I'm going to kill them first. And now we're gonna do a pretty neat shortcut, which I believe Cloth has also found, right?
Yeah, I was pretty proud of this wall jump.
This is like super awesome. You can just drop down perfectly right before this, you know, this artifact. And it only requires you to do a jump to the right from the very top, so that's really, really cool. And the way getting out is also just as cool. So we do a kind of a precise angled wall jump, and then we can just, you know, get out of this cave really, really fast.
The intended climbing basically requires you to encircle the entire room, so that just cuts it down by a lot. I do believe you can actually throw down some grenades after you get that treasure and just die, and it'll respawn you up at the top. But that wouldn't work for glitchless, because I do believe once you pick up that skull key, which is needed for the puzzle, I believe it switches the checkpoint to right there, so the death warp would only be useful for glitch runs.
I see. So in other words, I could have just died there and killed myself with grenades.
Yeah, so sadly that really cool angled wall jump would be used for glitchless.
I had no idea. Okay, must be something new then. Or I learned something new then.
Always something new to learn.
Yeah. At least we got to show off this awesome strat there. Right.
This courtyard is where the ground would open up, so there's 2 Mayan calendar puzzles on either side of the courtyard elevated. We went to one of them earlier, but since we are doing glitch, we won't be activating the puzzles. So we are going to get the 5 treasures that are in this courtyard. I believe we already got 2. Yeah. And then we'll be making our way to the left calendar, where we will then perform an out-of-bounds skip.
Sometimes I'm really having trouble to locating them in this area, because they are like hidden behind plants. So you do need to be careful to collect all of them. But when we check the PDA now, we should have 26. Yes, okay, 26 treasures, really nice. So I think we're ready to go for the skip then. Kelly should know this skip pretty well. It's
Kind of.
quite a huge thing in any percent.
Yeah, we won't be doing the grenade boost, right? Because we have to get that one treasure by the actual door.
That's right, yeah. It's actually good that you mentioned it, because
That one.
I had a practice session earlier where I actually did go for you know, the grenade skip and skip this whole area here. But we actually need to visit it, because look at this, there's this artifact here. Alright.
Yeah, but once we're inside or past the next area, we will, as we said, not solve the puzzle, but we will go out of bounds. And as you might expect, the delayed swan dive will help again with this. There's a series of statue heads at the walls, which we can use to swan dive over and go out of bounds. And to get back inbounds, we actually need to be a bit more creative, because you can jump back inbounds, but without any help, we would just die from fall damage. And what we will do is we will throw a grenade and try to time our jump back inbounds, so it hits us in midair, which will also reset our fall damage we take, so we can survive the jump.
Let's see. No! I jumped a little bit too late. It's fine.
Yeah, luckily you get a checkpoint just at the start here, so that's good.
This is one of the 2 hardest skips in the entire game, I feel.
Yeah.
Depending on who you ask, they might say this is the hardest one. Honestly, I don't know if other speedrunners relate. Sometimes it just switches up. Sometimes one of them is just a little more difficult at the time.
I guess what helps this one is that you have this really close by checkpoint. The other skip you're probably referring to has one that is way further off, so you lose a lot more time.
True.
That is true, yeah. Alright, I seem to have some difficulties with this today. Not sure what's wrong with me. I'll get there, I'm sure.
Yeah, this series of swan dives can be pretty finicky. Like, you don't want to jump or swan dive too early because then you won't make it across, but you also don't want to swan dive too late because then you simply will not get a swan dive and she will just tumble down.
Come on. Yes! Okay.
Yeah. Now we're in the next area already, but we need a motorbike to proceed, and luckily we just find one here.
Yeah.
Because this
It's
makes
just like
sense.
the ones we have.
You approach the door and you go back inside with the motorbike.
Yeah, it's really lucky that this thing actually works, and you can just trigger the cutscene that you would get from entering this tunnel, and then it gives you the bike as well, which is like really convenient. It's like the devs have known that you can do the skip.
I'm sure there's a lot of things they did not know.
That's true, yeah. I think so too. Yeah, speaking of skips, in this area that we're approaching now, there's for a long time we've been searching for one particular skip, and would you guys like to explain that really quick, what that is?
You're trying to trigger our PTSD here. Yeah, Clove, if you want to go ahead.
Okay. This room is the largest puzzle that we are forced to do in glitch runs, simply because we cannot find a way so far to get through it. It basically requires us to activate 4 different chairs, turn them around, open the doors to 4 different rooms, and each room is a various trial room where we have to get a stone tablet, raise up the middle platform, and push the chairs in, and it opens up the tunnel for us to take the motorcycle down. It is possible and quite easy to get down in the tunnel without doing any part of this room, without the motorbike. We can, what we're looking to get is there is a key down there to open the exit to this level at the very end. And we can go down there without the bike. We can get the key, and we can even get out using the bike to grab through the ground. But the thing is, that door that we entered this room through will not open unless the puzzle is solved. So that leaves the issue that without the motorcycle to cross the giant gap separating us from the end level cutscene, we cannot finish the level without the motorbike. So the only thing stopping us right now from skipping this entire room is not being able to get the motorcycle through the wall, getting it out of bounds, or being able to do the final jump without the bike. So as it stands, we are forced to do this room in every category. Of course, it's definitely necessary for 100% because there's about 11 or 13 treasures to get in this room, which we would pretty much just want to do it regardless. And that's about it. Sadly, we are still forced to do this puzzle.
Yeah, really super sad. But eventually, one day maybe, because
Maybe.
you know,
Maybe one day.
with Freiland, a similar thing has happened after how many years, Clough? Was it a 12 old?
I found Thailand skip. I found the out of bounds, quote unquote setup. It was just some YouTuber who liked to find parts of the map of various games where you could just fall underneath the map, and I was like, oh my goodness, I can literally use this. It was a 12-year-old YouTube video. Finally applied in 2020.
Yeah.
So there's always a chance.
Absolutely.
for new stuff to be found.
Yeah, perhaps one day. Right, so in this room here, I unfortunately can't show off a very neat skip that wouldn't
Oh, yeah.
would allow us to skip this box entirely.
That is actually a trick I learned from you. I was very impressed with that.
Really?
Mhm.
Ooh. Now I'm feeling honored. Ah, there we go. Okay. But we can't do it in 100% because we have to pick up this, you know, this artifact. And therefore, sadly need to do this first. Right, but then it's getting out of the room. And we've got about one more room left.
Yeah, one more room.
Yeah, I was about to ask if I'm not totally mistaken. Right.
The most fun room of them all.
Oh yes, the fire room. We love to see it. Right, so, but before that, I'm gonna pick up these two artifacts. And really, really important, I used to forget this a lot. There's this artifact here, before actually entering this area. I think Cloth gets this on the way back out, but...
Yeah.
Or, sorry if I'm saying something wrong right now.
No, you're fine. Yeah, you'd usually get the one from the alcove and then drop down and grab that. Ooh, the fire.
But my problem is when I do that, I used to forget a lot. Or I used to forget this artifact a lot, so I just like to get it in the first place.
Yeah, that's always good. I do notice whenever you drop down from the alcove, doesn't it seem that the game just does a massive amount of health loss for what seems like such a short fall? That's why you're doing the fall damage cancel.
Oh, yeah.
I had just noticed, like, seems like it always takes like a fifth of your health for whenever you drop down.
That is true, yeah. So definitely a safe or fall damage safe actually does really help you there. Also, not sure if you can hear it on stream, but oh no, I was not paying attention to my health. The spider's kind of bugged out there, so I was hearing some very interesting sounds. Where are we? Okay.
Oh, did you hear like the tap 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 tap?
Yeah,
of, like,
yeah.
I love that.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, if you kill one of the big spiders just at the edge of that staircase you come out of, it somehow clips into the floor and tries to immediately get ejected, but it doesn't work, and it just keeps on doing that animation and play the appropriate sound effect, and
So
yeah.
that's why. Now the mystery got solved. Right, there are a bunch of spiders. Just for safety, I'm gonna get rid of them. If we are lucky, they do get stuck like that. That one spider over there. But yeah, I still threw a grenade at it just to make sure it's not gonna irritate us while we're working here.
It does seem that if you take a death in this room, it just seems like they throw more spiders at you than normal. Although it's kind of random sometimes, I'm not quite sure. They are attracted to the smell of death.
Yeah, it really seems like it. They just become even more annoying. What's funnily enough though, in one of the later levels, there's an instance where it's actually good if you die, because it then spawns a little bit of less of enemies. But in this room, well, it's just random, and all of a sudden tons of spiders are there, crowding it around you, circling around you. Not sure if that was the right word, but I hope you get what I meant.
Right.
Right, then really important, like to get this one here first. And now, you're normally supposed to go over here with your bike. However, I'm going to skip that entirely. Now that I think about it, Cloth, I was wondering if taking the bike down here is actually faster.
I had considered it. I'm not entirely sure. Like, I didn't test it, like, time-wise, so I'm not entirely sure which one is better. Because your choices would be to either jump back over the rock or to move the rock once you get Thor's belt.
Yeah, exactly. It's an interesting thought, really. So what we're doing right here is basically the any percent way, because we wouldn't ever get to see this area here in any percent. And there's a bunch of stuff that we want to collect. So, but
Yeah.
first-
So as he mentioned, the rock that he jumped over, the rock that he did not take the bike over, if we were doing any other category, even glitchless, we would get that jaguar head key, and then we would go back over the rock and immediately leave. So we don't really ever get to see this room outside of 100% or all relics. So it's really quite nice to be here. And you'll notice here he grabbed that pillar after closing the snake's mouth and then immediately died, which proceeds to drain the room, whereas without death, he would have to basically watch it drain, which is pretty big time loss, having to watch that cutscene and not being able to move through it. So this is one of the instances where death is very beneficial. And he grabbed the relic from Odin's eye. I do believe that's Odin, because I know he has like the whole eye mythology thing. I've always assumed.
I must admit, I can't tell, so I'm just trusting you on that.
I do think we need one more treasure down here after we drain the room again.
Yeah.
And then there's 2 treasures to get. Interestingly enough, there's just a big block on the upper level, and you can move it with Thor's belt, but if you also just wall jump and repeatedly slam into the rock with your body, like after about a minute of doing that, you can move the rock yourself, and there's 2 treasures underneath it. But we're gonna get the belt just for the sake of making it easy on us, since it's already there.
It's actually really good that you're mentioning that, because I like to forget collecting the belt a lot. I had, like in my last 2 PP runs, I forgot to collect this belt and had to come back down here. It was really embarrassing, but yeah, I seem to forget about this belt a lot. Oh yeah, also, probably not enough time. I wanted to stay hydrated and drink something during this cutscene, because you can't skip it, but it's fine. Right, so just like Clock mentioned, this artifact is here that we need to pick up. And then what we're gonna do is to collect the belt. What's really interesting, if you play this game on lower FPS, you can actually get this belt early, and you can just jump through this waterfall. It will trigger your death, but at the same time it will also trigger the cutscene, and you will have the belt collected. So that way you would have skipped all this, you know, the stuff that we just did with turning the, what is it again, the ring, where we ran around the circle. You can skip that on lower frame rate, but if you have a kind of a decent PC, this is not really possible anymore. However, it is used for console runs as well, or you could use it for console runs. So I'm getting kind of bullied by these enemies here, so just getting rid of them.
Dog wants to play. Oh my goodness.
Oh man, so much stuff going around here. Okay, I killed them all.
Yeah, so you could see there the gimmick with these kind of undead enemies is that you first have to knock them out. So if you drain their health bar for the first time, they go into this down state, and then you're supposed to kind of stomp on them to really kill them. Which, as you saw there, can be pretty slow. So what we do in most cases, or in some cases, is actually throw a grenade at them, because from grenade damage they die instantly, so they just get completely destroyed and you don't have to stomp them individually.
Yeah.
And that should be all 50 treasures and the relic, I believe.
We can check in a bit.
Oh yes, with that one.
And so just entering the bike, and yes, okay, we have everything. We're safe. Right, so we can already leave this level already. And now comes the sad part in question that Cloth has said about, or town about. So we're now gonna approach the upper area, And the following thing is not gonna happen if you glitch down to this area here. You see this door? So if you do the glitch, it will never open up like this. And that's sadly the reason why we get stuck here. Because there's no known way to get the bike out of bounds or somehow through that door if it's closed.
Have you tried low FPS?
No.
I do want to believe that there may be some kind of save manipulation, but God knows I don't want to go down that road.
Yeah, same. Same for me. Because for the most part, when running this game, you will realize that we're not gonna use save that often. Only if, you know, for marathons, if I screwed something up. But normally we don't really have to use them. So that would just make it a little bit more complicated than if that thing would exist.
Right.
Right, but with that stone pillar now placed down there, we can open this door. And we're done with Mexico. Woo.
I can hear the excitement for doing the next room. So yeah, now we're in Jan Mayen, which is a Norwegian island or volcano. And you can already see here in the loading screen the first room. As you can see, there is a big old tower, and the premise is that you have to activate the tower and it starts rotating, and then you climb the rotating power, and it has 4 different levels where you need to spin around some symbols and align them correctly for the big gate at the bottom to open. There is a way to skip the gate that is used in a few categories, but not in this one, because of course we need to collect quite a few things here, including in the next part where we actually need the motorbike for it, and if you want to skip the gate, you can't take the motorbike with you.
Yeah, that's true. So, sadly, as a result of that, we get to do this nice tower the normal way. Before we do that, though, there's a technique that Kata has discovered called Craft Bike Technologies.
I have never heard this name until now, but I am all for it.
I think that was the name of the original YouTube video. Yeah, but yeah, if you have collected a few relics, or the relics up until now, as I said earlier, it increases your maximum HP. And since you also, I think this is the ongoing theory, since you also kind of hit a cutscene trigger there while falling down, that also reduces the fall damage you take, so that works out that you can actually fall all the way down without dying, because obviously from that height you would usually die.
Almost slipped out of bounds.
I was so confused. But yeah, that was the setup you would use to get out of bounds and skip the gate. And I was like contemplating life right now, whether I completely misinformed everyone. But yeah, this is the actual tower we have to do.
Yeah.
In the category and in all relics and glitches.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly show off that, that you can go out of bounds there, and that would be the way how you would be able to skip this tower. However, sadly, like we've mentioned before, we do need to get our bike over there, so therefore we need to do this tower.
Yeah, if you paid attention, he basically got out of bounds by picking up a specific treasure from a specific angle, because the pickup animation somehow pushes you out of bounds, which means that for all categories except for glitches, we actually always collect at least one treasure, because you need this one as well to get out of bounds in all of the other categories that do not collect any treasures.
So this tower in particular, climbing this up is quite tricky, so I'm kind of concentrating here not to miss any of these poles and platforms that you can climb on. Also really important here, there should be there's an artifact that you can pick up here.
There is a checkpoint on each level after you align the symbols.
Yeah.
But of course, if you die, you go to your previous level, and you have to wait for the cycles to line up again so you can climb up. So it does add up rather quickly.
Yeah.
Luckily, the way down is a lot faster.
Oh yeah, that's true. But yeah, I always find it impressive how much time you can actually lose on this tower. Really, just one mistake and you fall down, or you jump wrongly, and yeah, it adds up quite a few seconds. So let's get up here first, and then I'm gonna keep on talking. Okay, but we should be good to go now that we've triggered the checkpoint here. Also, one more artifact to get here. And now, just like Kenny mentioned, we have a really nice way of going back with our beloved technique.
Interestingly, with any glitchless runs that you must do the tower, you can actually jump down pretty much in the same place you would land the bike, and it actually hits a checkpoint. So although you would die from the fall, you will respawn on the floor. Pretty much almost the same as like the fall damage cancel without the glitch. A nice little death warp.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's funny how you can just abuse the checkpoints in this game. Oh, just to be safe, let's knock this guy out, because I'm kind of worried with my health. And I also don't seem to have any health packs, so that makes it a little bit nicer.
This area is definitely pretty sparse with the med packs.
Oh yeah. And this is an especially scary one, because there's so many monsters running around here.
And I believe there's 16 treasures, I think, in this hallway.
60?
Maybe 15.
Wow, okay.
16.
Yeah, I've not counted them, but yeah, that really does sound like a lot.
Yeah, there's 30 in this level total, so that is quite a bit for one area.
Do you need the bike for anything else but the relic?
I forget how long, like there's a second gate with just a treasure behind it.
Yeah.
I think that time's pretty short too, so I think you also need the bike for it.
Yeah, I think you do.
But any of these you can also access normally without the bike. But yeah, for one relic and that one treasure, we actually do need the bike, because obviously it is faster, and those are only accessible for a limited time.
Yeah.
I would say it's the hardest relic to get out of all of them. Okay, well, no, Arctic Sea. I always forget about Arctic Sea. Arctic Sea
Say
is the
no
worst.
more.
This is just, I guess, the most time-sensitive one.
So to the right here, we would go to the final part of this level, but this is also where we open up those two gates we were talking about, and that's where the bike will come into play. But first we need to clean out this area.
Okay, I'm just making sure here that I get rid of these guys, because anything could happen while they are alive, so I'm gonna be a little bit on the safe side there. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump on this pole, because fortunately this one is already ready and placed there for us to just grab. So we just drive straight forward, park our bike here, and there will be a bunch of spiders now coming up. What I think, Cloth, please correct me on that, is that you always have to pull this lever in order for to get out. I'm not sure if you can actually be fast enough and make it.
No, I don't believe so. It closes so quickly, but the relic definitely.
Yeah.
Whoops, that was a little bit off, but
Oh. It is my personal opinion that this block is far worse than any of the other block puzzles you would have to deal with.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah, agree.
I so love the fact though that you can just push it with the bike. I first saw Cloth doing it and I was like, what? You can just push it with your bike? That was so cool. So yeah, that's definitely the better way, or the more comfortable way of pushing this block. Right, hopefully we can make it. Yeah, to the relic of course we should be able to make it, but the way out is the question, if we have to pull the lever or not. Let's see about that. Also, Kenny, you playing with one hand here? Just like AOD.
Are you showing off?
I'm probably gonna die now. Yeah, okay, whatever. I'm kinda messed this up.
If you go for it now, I believe you will be crushed by the door, even though it doesn't look like you were. So if you do manage to drive out of here, and it looks like you just barely make it, you will still hit some sort of death plane and you'll just die.
Yeah, it's so mean. But thankfully it didn't happen. Well, okay, I went the safe route, of course, and pulled the lever. But yeah, of course, that's not so nice when it happens. Right, there are 2 here. Really need to keep that in mind. And then, is there any sort of med kit? Yeah, I've missed the med kit. I could have picked one up there, but hopefully it should be fine.
We're fine.
Yeah, we'll just keep going. Oh, we actually had one. Okay. Right, so now we can go towards the exit that Caddy has mentioned. So yeah, it took us that long to to come to this part. And the very next room has a really neat strat, which as of now is only used for 100%. And Cloth, I'm hoping that you could explain this, because I believe you were the one finding this.
This is the camera use, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we do have one more treasure right before we get to this walkway. We do have a camera in this game, which allows us to basically zoom in on the environment, get a look at things far away. There's not that many uses, but once you get to the middle of that square, it triggers a quick time event where the hammers come down, they break the walkway. But if you open the camera just before the QTE would begin, you can actually gain control of Lara and avoid the QTE altogether, getting you down to the next platform. Interestingly enough, the platform on the left is safe. If you were to go to the platform on the right before going to the left one, it would actually instantly kill you. So even though it would be faster to hopefully go to the right, we are instead forced to go to the left.
Oof. Okay.
But I'm very grateful that the camera trick was found, because I also found this other trick called the beam zip, which I was not able to find a consistent setup for. It basically allows you to teleport, like you zip from the left side to the right side, and it saves like 50 seconds of platforming. But the camera strat is much easier. It actually works, so RIP the beam zip, you will not be missed.
Yeah. I think the camera glitch also looks really, really cool. So
It definitely does.
Even though the beam zip did kind of look funny, especially this one where you zipped all the way up, like this really, really high one. Oh yeah, by the way, a result of doing that camera glitch always results in Lara, or there being an invisible death trigger there in this area. So you always get to die there, which is kind of interesting.
Oh yeah, huh. That is weird.
We're not sure why it's there, but it's also there when you would have come down there with a grenade skip, so when you wouldn't have triggered the hammers at all. So, I don't know, for some reason the events kind of get messed up there. It's a little bit hard to explain why it kills you there, or there's a death trigger. Right, now we need to make sure to grab this chain. Oh, also another result of that is that when you did the camera glitch, you can't access your PDA anymore, so unfortunately we won't be able to check our artifacts at the end of this level anymore.
How will we ever know that this run is actually 100%?
Well, I guess we will never find out.
Are you not keeping a tally? Like,
What was that, Kata?
are you not keeping a tally? I have like a list here, and I cross off every treasure.
Oh.
Because
Cataract
obviously
can
I
prepare.
wouldn't know, right?
Right, Right, there's a spider down there. I want to just throw this grenade at it. Because otherwise this spider tends to come a little bit in our way when we try to push this block here. Oh, nice jump.
Another super fun block.
Oh yeah, it's probably the same sort of thingy that we had earlier. Okay,
But
block.
no motorbike.
But no motorbike, yeah. It's tragic. Okay, we got it. Okay, spider here. Pick this up. And go all the way back. Clove, how long did it take you to route this room in particular, or this area in particular?
Well, considering that there is like a pretty you know, there's obviously the intended path of like going from room to room, and there's not really that much in terms of like getting the rooms out of order. It's not too bad because I think there's only 8 treasures in this entire room right here.
Oh, okay.
But it's not too bad. I'd say the worst thing is like that tunnel at the end, but it's a pretty simple route for sure. If you're able to get the cycle just right on these poles, you can try to jump from pole to pole, try to shorten the time you're standing on it. Obviously, these crushy... What would you even call these? Grinders? These are a real pain.
I think...
You just definitely have to hope for the best cycles with the hammers.
Oof. Okay, we got it.
So if we had been doing any percent, we would actually do a delayed swan dive to completely miss the trigger to cause the hammers to start swinging. We would just take the pathway all the way to the end of the level because the pathway doesn't get destroyed, and for some reason it's still solid. So this is a super short level in any percent with just 2 massive skips. I want to say it's like 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, I think that could be true. And it's like super crazy, like when you think of how long this normally takes to do casually, then it's really a big difference for sure. Right, so that right there was just another shortcut jump. And we have a few more rooms to visit for some artifacts. First of all, there some more wall jumping. Right, and there's this enemy here that I always like to kill before going for the grappling. Coming up is a very, very interesting cave or hall. I'm not sure, how would you guys describe this one?
I would not use the word interesting, that's for sure.
I wouldn't know because I never go here.
It's awful. It's like at the beginning and end of the tunnel, you kind of get stuck, so you have to roll, and then your camera also gets really just, what's the word? It doesn't want to behave like a proper camera.
Jumpy.
So you mostly just have to do a leap of faith and hope that you hit your mark. And also the checkpoint's really far back, so if you by chance die, you have to go all the way back.
I really wonder, this cave doesn't seem to be any sort of like glitchy or something that we're not supposed to reach it. Is this actually designed like that?
Yes. Yes it is.
Okay, just
Maybe it was better on console, who knows?
I don't know. I really don't remember it how it was like the first time playing this on console.
Makes you wonder how it was for the PS2 version.
Oh, I desperately want to know again. I'm sure it was awful.
I think this room was not even there in the PS2 version.
That's
You're,
also
you're probably right.
Yeah.
Hello, Laura, please. Like, this is exactly what Clough has mentioned. The camera just jumps around, you have no clue where you are. And yeah, this tunnel, cave, whatever you want to call it, it's, well, terrible.
And then we just have one more room left, and I believe there's 2 treasures here, as well as a very big Yeti.
Well, yeah. First of all, we're gonna throw some grenades at it. Then trigger the cutscene. Oh no, it didn't work. So what you can do here is you can actually hit him before triggering him, and this was gonna make the fight a little bit easier because when he's not triggered, of course, easy damage. So would have made the fight a little bit easier if his health was already down by quite a lot. But it's fine. We still defeated him without dying, so I guess that's kind of nice. Right, so this last chain here. And at this point we should have all the artifacts that are in this level. However, like I said, I'm unable to prove it to you, unfortunately, due to the fact that the PDA doesn't work. Whoops.
So does the PDA just stay deactivated for this level, or is it for the entire rest of the run?
Just for this level.
Okay, so you could check in the next level, technically.
Yeah, yeah. In the next level we're able to do it
Like,
again.
I'm not encouraging you to lose time to that, I'm just...
Okay. And now it's another deja vu level. We get to see the nice ship by Amanda again. Apparently she got a new one. I'm not entirely sure where she got it from or if she repaired the old one.
No. This is actually officially the sister ship of the ship we were on previously. So
Oh,
this is
okay.
the deepest lore. This is definitely a different ship and not the same level that they copied over, trust me.
We can just assume that all of our protagonist enemies are just stupidly rich and can afford anything they want. Because otherwise, why would they be a threat?
Yeah, it's true. Right, so if this level looks kind of familiar to you, it is definitely a new level and it's absolutely not a copy.
That all damage cancel looked very familiar, as if we saw that earlier in this game.
What is really good as well is just like in the other area, this boat also doesn't have any sort of collectibles, so nothing for us to care about here. So one more stay hydrated before the final level. Right, now we're good to go. So once again, shotgun, although it doesn't really matter because we've now, through Jen Mayen, we've acquired Thor's hammer. So we got now a really strong weapon, which unfortunately we just get at the very end of the game. But here it is, and therefore it doesn't really matter what kind of weapon you select for the last level.
I'm also very proud of you that you selected the correct outfit for this level.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
I do usually notice you would take the wetsuit.
What is wrong with the wetsuit?
Everything.
I don't mind it. I just kind of like trying new outfits, and I quite like the dry suit.
Yeah, in the past I used to pick the wetsuit, but actually, since we've already seen the wetsuit, I think it's just good to try some new clothes and have some variety on the clothes and the run. And also, it seems like that every runner now takes the dry suit, so I guess I have to stick to it. It looks pretty cool, though. Oh, sorry, Claw, please go on.
Sorry, yeah, I was always interrupting each other. This level is pretty easygoing, right up until the relic room and then the very end. It's just kind of like really calm, just swimming. There's several treasures for us to get. This is another level where there are 30 treasures and 1 relic. And as we definitely established earlier, the relic in this level is the most complicated one to get, but we will get to that later.
Yeah.
This beginning area would basically require you to pull 3 turnkeys actually to raise the swords out of the massive chains, and we would get these red jewels And we would put them into these small pillars to basically power the gate and then open it. But after we get these artifacts, we will be doing another easier gate skip than the one we did not see in Janmayan. But yeah, it's just some really easy swimming up until this point.
Yeah. The puzzle that Cloth meant, where we would collect the red jewels, would also take quite long. So it's actually a quite nice skip that we have, or that we can skip the gate here. But we'll get to that. First of all, let me just break this thing. Whoops. I think it
Gotta
was
show
here.
off Thor's hammer.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, a little bit more. Okay, there's this jewel in question that Cloth has mentioned, but we're not gonna collect it since we don't really need it. What we're instead going to do is we're gonna drop down here, and here's a nice technique called a beam clip. And that's the first time that we're gonna see it, so hopefully it's gonna work. Ah, come on. There we go. I'm gonna turn my camera around and pop back in bounds. This was not what I wanted to do. There we go. Let's try again. I just want to show it off. At this point it would have been faster to do it the normal way. But it's a nice little found that I had. That it's actually way quicker to access this artifact by going out of bounds there. So if you would get it first try, then of course it saves some time. I unfortunately messed it up, so it didn't save any time, but we got to see it. Okay, one more artifact that we may not forget is lying down here. And then we can enter this area. First of all, before going to the main part where we're gonna do a skip, we want to go to this area just to collect some more artifacts here. So that's number one. Then, yeah, I just wanted to check there. I don't think there should be any. Then another one here. And just like Cloth said, this level is really relaxing because you just get to swim and it's just like a nice little break before the actual finale is gonna happen. Which will be intense, but we get to that.
You may also have noticed so far that there are no boss battles in this game. And like that's not because we skipped them, there are actually no boss battles, which is pretty neat, I think, because we don't have to worry about those. Which also means we don't technically get a final boss at all. But yeah, the movement mechanics in this game are enough of a boss to worry about.
And the camera.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that's true. Well, it's sort of a puzzle boss. If you can count it still as a boss there. Right, so... no, I shouldn't have missed one down there. Hello, Lara?
It's a very common phrase you hear when you run this game.
Where's the beam? There. Okay, and now comes the clip that we've now mentioned, which is part of the gate skip. There we go. We're now in the out of bounds area, and what we're gonna do... hello? Oof. That's not what I wanted. I wanted a little bit to close to the inbounds area there. But it's fine.
Something you will notice is whenever you're out of bounds and you kind of collide with a wall or a ceiling or a floor, it'll just shoot your camera upwards, and if you are holding W, it kind of makes you inclined to swim in that direction, which unfortunately can push you back inbounds a lot of the time when that's not what you are trying to do.
Yeah. Okay, this time we should have it. Okay, so we now skip the gate and also the puzzle, so that is quite a big time save if you do it that way. And in this particular maze, there are about 6 artifacts that we have to collect.
Right.
So the chunk bit that Clough has mentioned.
Yeah, that is the way that I felt was easiest to learn this run, is like, okay, this maze has 6 treasures, this next room has 8 treasures, like just trying to learn it in chunks. Like, I really appreciate Katarev actually making a relic and treasure counter for live split in this game. That was super appreciated considering there are 185 pickups, so that definitely made things a lot easier on us, for sure. It was very kind.
Still kind of a work in progress thing, which depends on when I stop being lazy. But yeah, for some reason, the very final relic that we're about to pick up is stored differently in the game's memory, so it's not as easy to detect, but it's working for now, so we'll see about that. But yeah, I think that's also coming up pretty shortly, the final relic, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So we might want to talk about that, because as we established, it's very fun to get.
Oh yes.
So we do get the 6 treasures from this tiny hallway, but then once we emerge from the water, we will be in a room where Draugr are just constantly spawning. If you do, however, die, at the very beginning, it'll, more often than not, it'll actually reduce the overall amount of enemy spawns, making it a lot easier. So the reason that the relic is the hardest relic to get out of the entire game is there are 4 symbols spread throughout the room, and you need to touch each of the symbols and not die between touching each of them. So you want to activate all 4, which will then remove a waterfall in the middle of the room that you then grapple behind, where you can get the relic. And then you can die from that point on, not much worry with that, but you definitely don't want to die as you are trying to unlock it. But it is the final room for collectibles. You get the last 8 treasures and the last relic in the game.
I think I might have forgotten an artifact. I don't know where it is.
I wasn't entirely watching, but there is there's like some rubble in the middle of the room that has a treasure in front of it. I know the last 4 of them are so close together.
I'm really not sure. Ah, no.
Trying to figure out exactly where you are right now.
That's just at the end. Like, there it goes to the main hall.
Yeah, almost at the end.
So you are missing 1.
Yeah, I'm missing one.
Alright. If you'd like to go back, I could try to hopefully guide you, and the delay won't be too bad. So you cleared out those 2 corners. If you keep going straight,
Yeah?
there should be one to your right. If you had already gotten that. It looks like you got the one in front of the rubble.
This one we definitely did got. So hard to tell right now. And there was...
There is one right after the rubble that you had already passed. I'm not sure if you got that.
Let me check. Huh. Can't seem to figure it out. Huh. If I don't find it, I think we'll just have to keep going, because otherwise I'll be going way too high overestimate.
99%.
Yeah. Well, in that case, let's just keep going. because I don't really know where it is right now. I believe that I've missed it somewhere. Yeah, in the last room there are 8 artifacts, so therefore I'm short on 1.
You can use the replay level function later.
So you did get that first treasure, I'm quite sure, and then you passed the broken staircase, and that's then when the 5 of them are available. So you got that one, you got the one past the rubble. So if you swim straight, like there should be a corner where there's rubble to your left and right. It might be straight in front of you. I don't know how bad the delay is.
Yeah, same. It's a bit...
Yeah. Yeah, whatever.
99%, let's go.
99%, yeah. I really don't want to stress the estimate too much. I must admit I don't see any sort of timer right now, so...
They actually put 99% on the street. That's lovely.
So sorry for that, I apologize. But yeah, just to keep the run going, we'll just have this. And you saw 99% of this game, which is something.
And you know what? We got a €1 donation from Brinu, so that'll make up to the 100, right?
Whoops. That was not my intention. But it's fine. Thank you so much, Brinu. Right, so this last room covers the final relic that we've talked about. And there's some preparation that we need to do in order to get it. So we have to activate a few of these buttons here. And yeah, there are also a bunch of enemies spawning, but thankfully since we have the hammer, we can actually get rid of the enemies quite easily.
Yeah, but as Clove mentioned earlier, this room is really punishing in a way that if you die before you collect the final relics, all of the buttons will be deactivated again. So if that's the case, you have to start over. And even worse, there is a checkpoint on the other side of the room that we will get. So if you die past that point, but before you pick up the relic, you would have to then traverse the entire room again to start the button on the other side.
Yeah,
So all in all, a very fun room.
absolutely.
Definitely not jinxing it.
You know, you're kind of putting pressure on me. It's fine. We got this. Right, so just activating this here. Okay. Now I'm gonna do kind of a scary drop here. Right, then collect this artifact, and I wonder if I can shoot them from the distance. The enemies. Because I definitely want to get rid of them. I'm kind of scared to move right here. Oops. Oof. Why are there so many here? Surprised. Whatever. Okay, we got the artifact.
Oh, I didn't even know you could like smack the hammer to the ground.
Good,
Yeah.
I'm not the owner.
Wait, you guys didn't know that?
I didn't know that. No,
I would never use
Wow.
that.
how do you do that?
You just press E. And
Is it the adrenaline attack or no? Just really? Oh.
it's like kind of a smash attack so that she basically gets rid of all the enemies nearby. You just you hold the right mouse button and press E, and that's it.
That's pretty cool. I also didn't know that you get more grenades the lower the difficulty, so that was another thing I learned today about this run.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, if you select the hardest, you actually only have 4, which is rather limiting.
Yeah.
And they also hurt you for a lot more, so the skips are really fun.
I like how back in the original days of the leaderboard, master difficulty was actually a rule, so you
Yes.
had to play on the highest difficulty. Right. So, in normal cases, we should now have all of the artifacts as well as all the relics. Well, I kind of screwed that up, unfortunately. But yeah, now we actually get to the end game. So we just finish it really quick.
How will you ever cope without bathing suit.
Replay level, replay level.
You know what? Another €5 might help you cope a little bit. I got that in from Wetzer, so thank you very much for the €5 donation. It says, here's the last part that you missed.
Right, so this is the final boss room. Well, quote-unquote final boss room. It's rather a puzzle boss. And our goal here is to, like, push a bunch of these stone panels in and, yeah, basically smash a bunch of stone plates. I don't know how else to describe this boss fight, to be honest.
That is pretty much it. Lore-wise, this is actually the Midgard serpent. Turns out it's not a giant snake, rather it's just a giant machine of sorts that Natla is trying to bring upon the 7th Age, but we will not stand for that. We do get to do some pretty creative fast cycles. So after we smash each of these stone panels, there's actually it's kind of a bridge of sorts that you can see in the top left, where there are a bunch of platforms that form a giant angled, I guess, slope. And whenever you smash the panel, they will disperse. And if you skip the cutscenes, you can actually grab them as they are moving and get to the next platform much quicker, because otherwise you would have to pretty much stand on the platform and wait for it to circle around, but it's obviously the fast cycle for a reason, and we get to do 2 of those, which is a lot of fun. All the while, Natla is shooting fireballs at us, although very poorly.
We will see about that.
Oh.
We will see about that.
Let's cross fingers it doesn't happen.
Yeah, the very next trick we will do is a wall grapple, and you're rather exposed during it, and if Natla hits you, there is nothing to cushion your fall.
She shot a fireball there. Like, you can see Natla is really going insane right now with the shooting.
You can also get ready on time soonish.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Forgot to start the time and forgot to end the time, too.
So time will be when we smash the 3rd stone plate. So the one that's coming up. But I assume Kayumon will give you the countdown.
Alright. And time will be... No! Okay, never mind. We'll have to do it again.
So this is another fast cycle we can do here, but this one is a bit more forgiving because you get a checkpoint just as it starts.
Yeah.
Still should hover your finger over the split key.
I'm really not doing a good job today. I'm so sorry. We got this. Come on.
If your job was getting 99% of collectibles, I'd say you did amazing. but if I wasn't talking at that point, I would have absolutely tried to help. I just wasn't paying attention. Ooh. This is definitely a very hard trick right here.
We got it. Okay, get ready for time. Time.
GG.
Yay, GG.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I totally messed it up. But yes, we finished the game with 99%. So guys, I must admit something. I have no idea about the end time.
Well, do you want to know about the end time?
Should I know about it?
Absolutely.
Then give it a go. What is it?
Clove, if you will.
156.26.
156?
How dare you go over estimate?
For just 1 minute, that's okay. Okay, well,
Or take 90 seconds or so.
well, I guess I will still get shot because I went over estimate, but hey, I would have expected that this would already be at the 2-hour mark, so I'm kind of glad actually. Yeah, overestimate. I will for always be ashamed. And it's
Even with starting the timer late?
even with starting time late. Yes. Oops. Why did you say that, Caddy?
So I'm not the only one who will be remembered for that. Making sure.
Right. But yeah, we made it to the end with 99%. And yeah, unfortunately, like we said before, there's not really an unlockable or anything that you get for collecting the 100%. So I guess what we can do... no, okay, I wanted to skip this last cutscene, but yeah. Yeah, nevertheless, guys, thank you so much. Caddy, Cloth, thank you so much for joining me. I really had a lot of fun, and to all the viewers, of course, thank you so much for watching. Is there anything left that you wanted to say that we've forgotten?
Well, we forgot one treasure. No. This is a game that is not super popular, especially like if you compare it to other Tomb Raider games. So if this looked interesting, which it definitely did one way or the other, then feel free to contact either one of us. We're always happy to have new owners.
Absolutely, yeah.
Also, job well done, Kayumon.
Thank you
Don't
so
worry
much.
don't worry about it.
It was a really, really good run.
Thank you so much.
Zed wants a donation to be read, I hear.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Oh.
before we let you go, I've got one last one to read off, and it is from Zet. It says, "My man, Kayumon. Sad to not have seen you in person this year. Hope we'll catch up on that soon." Trademark.
Really?
During the next on-site SpeedCon at Freiland. And that was 10 euros in from Zed again, so thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Really looking forward for it, and hope that it works, really. Thank you, Zed. Okay, well, if there's nothing left to say, then thanks again, guys, so much for everything. This was the last marathon of not the last the last run of the marathon. My bad. I should just shut up. But yeah, thank you again so much, and I guess from my side we're out. So time to give back to the staff.